Well, Tally, last year, special teams a problem for the Eagles. Danny Smith, giving that gum a workout all season long, told me tonight that he gives it about 150 sticks during the course of the game. The players know once the game starts not to come over to him because he needs it all. When he needs a big play, he goes to the Big Red because he needs a little extra jolt. The Big Red will get it done for him. And you saw it just there. I guess Danny popped one in right before that punt by Tommy Hutton. Back upstairs.
And good job, Carl. He was delighted with Sly Wright. He would have been delighted with the defensive surge right there. James Willis, you're looking at Andy Harmon. They just stuffed Leroy Horde at the line of scrimmage. It brings up 2nd and 10 for the Baltimore Ravens.
Love to see James Willis fill the gap like he did there. Held to a 1-yard gain. A split second quicker could have been a safety.
Testaverde drops into his own end zone. Penalty flag on the play. Gets the throw out complete to number 81, Michael Jackson. But there's a penalty on the play that may be coming back. Of course, the guy that Philadelphia Eagles fans will want to be looking for all night long, former Eagle Calvin Williams. He's number 80. Of course, the Eagles secondary with some injury problems, as we mentioned before. Troy Vincent is not starting tonight. They are concerned that he'd be back at full strength later on. Bobby Taylor not starting tonight as well.
Yeah, and Eric Zomalt on that play, the free safety came with the blitz. So they are, putting some pressure on Testaverde. Emmett Thomas, early in the season, is throwing the kitchen sink at a quarterback. You'll see right here on the right side of your screen, number 27, Eric Zomalt, uncontested. Good call. Vinny Testaverde does a fine job of stepping up and avoiding the sack and the safety, but a good defensive call by Emmett Thomas coming with the safety blitz in that situation.
All right, they got a penalty on the Eagles on that play. The Eagles were offside. That's why they got an excellent surge. If you leave before the ball snap, you should. And that'll bring up a 2nd down and 5 yards for Vinny Testaverde in this Ravens offense. What's your take on Vinny's career? It just has been so inconsistent, Ronnie.
What happened to him last year was a moronic decision by Bill Belichick or Art Modell, whoever made that decision. This guy was playing great football. He got benched for a rookie, Eric Zier, and it wasn't right. And really, that was the biggest disruption to that team, is the move out of town.
That was the gift of Leroy Horde. Nothing there. As this Eagles defense, again, a lot of concern with Romanowski and Govea gone. But I'll tell you, so far, they're making plays. They're hitting people as we look at the replay right here. Just see the gift of Horde.
You'll see it right there. The good penetration by the Eagles defensive line. They are getting under the pads of the Ravens offensive linemen and driving them back in the backfield, allowing the linebackers to scrape off. I talked to Don Strock, their quarterbacks coach, before the game. He said the Ravens wanted to come out today and play some smash-mouth football. Right now, the Eagles have risen to that challenge.
All right, Barry Wilburn, Brian Dawkins, guys coming in on the nickel. 3rd down situation, looking for the blitz here. They drop off. Good protection, and it's going to be a 1st down. As the catch is by Calvin Williams. There he is, the former Philadelphia Eagle. He signals his own 1st down. Calvin had a lot of production for the Eagles. Talk about why he's no longer an Eagle, Ron.
Good question. I think he's a very talented football player. He just didn't seem to fit in the West Coast offense style of play. I think Calvin Williams and Fred Barnett will be successful. Fred Barnett in Miami and Calvin Williams here in Baltimore. They are good, solid football players, but they are more vertical stretch guys. They like to go up the field. In the West Coast offense, you have to catch a short pass and take a hit. That wasn't their style of play.
All right, there was some look at Calvin Williams, of course, out of Purdue. 1st and 10 for the Baltimore Ravens. They're starting from their 15-yard line right here. Eagles moving around on defense. Play action, Vinny Testaverde over the middle, wide open to his tight end, number 88, Brian Kitchen. Big gain for the Baltimore Ravens. The first big offensive play for them, and this packed house at Memorial Stadium is in to their new team.
Well, you can see the running game is setting up the passing game. Here they come with the play-action pass. The fake to Leroy Horde, Carwell Gardner out in the flat, but Brian Kinching coming over the top. Brian Kinching, their starting tight end, is not a great blocker. He's a receiver. That's why they like to use him in this situation. Off the play-action pass, throw the ball down the field. Vinny off balance, and Vinny can throw the ball off his front foot, his back foot. He is a very talented quarterback.
1st and 10 at the 38 for the Baltimore Ravens. And Testaverde gives to his single back Horde. Very little running room up to the 40. That's just about it. It'll be a 2-yard pickup. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 8. Mark Woodard, number 57, being picked up there as we look at Joe Kelly, number 56. Let's detail the linebacker situation. If you're just joining us here with 4:56 to go in the 1st quarter of a scoreless game, the Eagles have got to get good linebacker play from some new players.
And they are getting it right here. Mark Woodard fills the gap, which is what you have to do. The Ravens came off with a double team, left Woodard unblocked. He filled the gap and stopped the play for a short gain. Good anticipation by Mark Woodard on that particular play.
Vinny Testaverde back to pass, takes a deep drop. Mike Mamula putting the pressure on him. He rolls up and he gets it again to his tight end, Brian Kitchen. Number 56, the veteran Joe Kelly, upset with himself. But Vinny Testaverde taking some heat from Mike Mamula, and that's a guy that Ray told us in the meeting this morning. Two guys, younger players, he's got to get production from. Mike on defense, Christy Jones on offense.
Don, we'll see it right here. Mike Mamula, as you said, has to pick his game up. He is a guy that had 5 sacks last year. He's going against a good, solid left tackle in Tony Jones. He puts the pressure on, doesn't get the sack, but forced Testaverde out of the pocket. Vinny makes a nice play, scrambling around, finding Brian Kinchen for the first down.
We're at midfield, 1st and 10 for the Ravens. Testaverde 3 of 4 so far for 40 yards. And over the left side, good hit there as the linebackers are coming up. It was Michael Zordes, the safety, also in on the play. But again, they go, their bread and butter play is getting the ball in the hands of Leroy Hoard.
Smash mouth football, and they pick up Carwell Gardner from the Buffalo Bills, an outstanding blocker. They use him like an H-back. Here, Carwell Gardner leading to the left. Will get the block on I believe that's Mike. Yes, it is Mike, but he fights off the block and makes a play for, unfortunately, a 6-yard gain. But they want to play smash mouth football. And as you can see, Gardner gives him that ability to block. And as a safety, you know, if he hits you, you're going backwards.
Joe Kelly over from the Green Bay Packers. Of course, the big Green Bay connection with John Gruden, the Eagles' offensive coordinator. A lot of former Green Bay guys here. Vinny Testaverde, 2nd down and 5. Ball in Eagles territory at the 45. Short drop over the middle. Incomplete. No. Yes, it was incomplete. I had it right the first time. And, of course, the Ravens fans do not like the fact that Michael Jackson was ruled to have not caught the ball, but Ray Rhodes likes the call as he chews the gum.
We'll take a look at Joe Kelly on this particular play. As you said, Joe Kelly coming over the Green Bay Packers, a veteran player. And Ray worked out a number of linebackers to try to fill that middle linebacker void. And Joe Kelly stood out in all those workouts. And you'll see him coming up the middle here. It's a short drop by Testaverde. If he doesn't get rid of the ball quickly, hey, he may take one upside the head. But Joe coming up the middle to put pressure on Testaverde.
All right, it is a passing situation. 3rd down and 5 for the Baltimore Ravens, operating from the Eagles' 45. Lots of movement on the Eagles' nickel defense in the shotgun. Testaverde under a lot of pressure, and he is going to go down. He gets out of Mamula's grasp, but Mamula did trip him up. Mike Mamula doing an excellent job, as was number 26, Jerome Henderson. Forced that play, and Mike Mamula with a good hand slap.
Well, when Ray Rhodes talks about Mike Mamula, he talks about his upfield rush there against Tony Jones, a very good left tackle. Just blows right by him with the head slap. Chases him out of the pocket. Hey, that trip right there is as good as whacking him upside the head. That's a nice play by Mike Mamula. I know Ray Rhodes is real excited to see that kind of pressure on the quarterback from Mike Mamula.
All right, Greg Montgomery into punt for the Baltimore Ravens. Freddie Solomon standing back at his own 10-yard line. And again, we talked about it. Punt returning is a very important aspect of this Eagles season, and you got to love that one. You don't have to return that. Let's say, Ron, he was at his 10. That would have been a 35-yard return. You got to love it when Greg Montgomery gives you that kind of a punt. 2:31 to go in the first quarter of a scoreless game from Memorial Stadium. We'll be right back with more Eagles football after this Fox timeout.
Welcome back to Baltimore. 2:31 left in the first quarter. I'm Carl Churton along with Ron Jaworski and Don Tallis. And folks, Mike Mamula is very aware of the great expectations that came along with that #1 draft choice just a year ago. Talking at training camp, Michael, again, very well aware that he didn't do what everybody expected him, especially the head coach, Ray Rhodes. This year, he told me earlier in training camp, not only does he want to make the effort, he wants to make plays. Back upstairs.
Good job, Double C. It will be the Eagles' 1st and 10 from their own 47. Rodney Peete dropping back. He's going left side, and he's got a man on an excellent catch by Mark Ingram, number 85. That's why you bring in veteran receivers. The referee rules he was in balance. Mark Ingram shaken up on the play, though, and that's a concern because it's not the win or the loss. It's not getting serious injuries that's the bottom line in the preseason, Jaws.
It looked like one of those situations. We'll see it right here. Rodney Peete, the short drop, reads the man-to-man coverage, just lays it out nicely in the box. Mark Ingram lays out. It looks like he fell in the ball. It's probably one of those situations where the wind got knocked out of him. I don't want to say it prematurely, but watch Rodney here. Nice vision downfield. Nice set in the pocket. Starting to feel comfortable with that protection. Lays this ball out in the box toward the sideline where only his receiver can catch it. That's an excellent throw and an outstanding catch by Mark Ingram.
Just a great catch. Okay, 2:24 to go in the first quarter of a scoreless game. We'll be back with the Eagles 1st and 10 at the Ravens 26 right after this NFL on Fox timeout. They're working on Eagles receiver Mark Ingram, who came up with that excellent catch. 2 of them today so far for 34 yards. This one put the Eagles 1st and 10 on the 26. We'll have an injury update as soon as possible. Mark Ingram getting attention on the sideline. Rodney Peete, the give is to Ricky Waters. He stutter steps over the 25 down to about the 23-yard line. Isaac Booth, the cornerback on the stop for the Ravens.
Ricky Waters using that fine vision he has to find a crack. And with this offensive line, as big as they are, you're gonna find some cracks. It's amazing when Joe Panos is in there, they average about 292 yards. When Jermaine Mayberry is in there, it's about 310 pounds. Here, stick and stay. Get on your block. And Ricky Waters has the great instinct to run to daylight right there. Didn't look like much, but he picks up 4 yards.
2nd down and 7 for the Philadelphia Eagles, operating from the Ravens' 23-yard line. Mark Say in motion. Rodney Peete back to pass. Quick out to Christy Jones. And he has the grab. That is just excellent football. Christy Jones is a big receiver in the Al Toon tradition, and you got to love that.
Well, you know, Mike Quick this past week spent some time out with him, and that was Mike wearing that number as an Eagle receiver for a lot of years, and certainly one of the greatest receivers in the history of the National Football League. And Mike is very impressed with this guy. He sees a lot of himself in Christy Jones. And I'll tell you, if those Raven corners don't get a little bit tighter, I think you'll see the Eagles put it up a lot more even than they are.
All right, the Eagles have 3 tight ends. They got West, Jimmy Johnson, and the rookie Jason Dunn in here on the 3rd and 2 from the 17-yard line. The give is to Ricky Waters. He's got the first down to the 15. It'll be 1st and 10 Eagles operating from the Ravens' 15.
Don, this is when it's critical that you can run the football. When you get in 3rd and 1, you just got to get a man on a man, a mano on a mano, and say, hey, we're coming after you, big guy. And that's what they're doing right here. They're challenging the Raven defensive line and linebackers, which are very good, by the way, and get that tough yard. A lot of people like to see teams rush for 220 yards a game. Hey, that's not the way you win football games. You win it by gaining that yard and a half when it's 3rd and 1.
You saw number 29, Adam Walker. Good job on the lead block there. He's filling in for Kevin Turner, who should be back for the 3rd preseason game. 1st and 10, Philadelphia Eagles inside the 15 of the Baltimore Ravens. Irving Fryer in motion. The give is to Ricky Waters. He trips, and he's going to be hit at the line of scrimmage and brought right back down by number 57, Gerald Williams. No gain on the play for the Eagles.
The Ravens defense a year ago, when they were the Cleveland Browns, they struggled. Their linebackers with Pepper Johnson and Carl Banks were considered very slow. They have made changes. Of course, Ray Lewis, the guy that they want to see stand up and be accounted for, but Gerald Williams, another guy, number 57, that they also want to see make plays for their defense.
Okay, that's going to do it for a scoreless first quarter here at historic Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. No score between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. It'll be 2nd down and 10 to go at the Ravens 15 for the Eagles when second quarter action continues. The NFL on Fox. They're back, Memorial Stadium, Baltimore. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Baltimore Ravens. It is scoreless in the second quarter. Don Tollefson, Ron Jaworski, and now for a Mark Ingram injury update. Let's go down to our pal, Double C, Carl Churkin.
Thanks, Tolly. Mark Ingram, for Eagles fans who are concerned, appears to be okay. He got hit across the bridge of his nose and in his forehead when he was knocked out. He was fine when he got him over to the bench. You might be able to see him behind me now. Dr. John McShane has been working on him. He appears to be fine now. In fact, he's been joking and smiling. Back upstairs.
Thanks, Carl. Ricky Waters in motion. Rodney Peete on the 2nd and 10. Over the middle, and the ball is dropped. He had a nice pattern run there by Irving Fryer, but Irving could not hold on to it. Of course, he is the veteran out of Rancocas Valley High School, and he's a guy that the Eagles love. He doesn't do that very much.
Not very much. You know, again, Rodney Peete setting in the pocket. You know, Ricky Waters going in motion, trying to dictate something to that Ravens defense. Went to the right man. Unfortunately, Irving Fryer just didn't come up with a catch.
We look at the first quarter stats. Rodney Peete, 73 yards passing, the lion's share of the offense. Only 44 total yards of offense for the Baltimore Ravens. They've got to be pleased with the defensive effort from coordinator Emmett Thomas's Eagles defense. Peete is 7 for 11, 73 yards, as we mentioned, and Rodney's coming over to the sidelines here because it's a key 3rd and 10 that'll be coming up for the Eagles. We're only 5 seconds into the second quarter of a scoreless game. We'll be back with more Eagles preseason football right after this timeout. Stadium, and Ray Rhodes is a big Rodney Peete guy. He says this of his starting quarterback: he brings an attitude onto the field. He'll bark at people, Jaws.
You gotta love that. A quarterback getting after people.
All right, it is a big 3rd down for a quarterback barking at people. Rodney Peete, the crowd's into it. Very noisy here at Memorial Stadium. 3rd and 10 from the Ravens 15. Peete back to pass. Over the middle, and it's going to be a completion, but not enough for the first down. It went to Vaughn Hebron, back from an injury. Good running back. Figures to be a 3rd running back after Ricky Waters and Charlie Garner, but he's a big special teams player, too.
And also, Don, this play was an outstanding play by design. John Gruden's West Coast offense designed to get Vaughn Hebron singled against the linebacker. Unfortunately, it wasn't a very clean throw that came out of the hand of Rodney Peete. But Vaughn Hebron is a guy that Ray Rhodes loves. He brings a great work ethic to this football team. He wants to make this team badly, and he makes very few mistakes.
Okay, Tommy Hutton is going to mark it at the 18, a 28-yard attempt for Downingtown.